afterwards as well. So I'll be quick, and then we can talk more.
Yes.
Can you see me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, let's go back to the start. Okay, yes, so just a little bit of introduction. My name's Andy Newell. I'm the Managing Director of Iris Connect, and I'm joined by Vanya, whose job it is to work with Israel to help you get the most out of the Iris Connect system. Iris Connect has been around for about 10 years. We've been working in the field of using video to support teacher development, whether that's initial teacher training, teacher preparation, or whether that's in-service training and development. And the reason we do this is that we believe that empowered, connected, and confident teachers are stronger teachers, and that stronger teachers support better learning outcomes. So we feel that the work that we do and the work that you do, let me get this right, the work that you do is the most important job in the world, and our job is to support you to do that. So why did we start doing what we do? I used to work.
If you are showing the presentation, we don't see it.
You don't see it?
No.
Okay.
We see your
computer's
background.
Yeah. Desktop.
Ah, okay. Maybe we just need to share a different screen. Sorry, everybody. Bear with me. That's strange. I'm sure I chose this screen. Bear with me 1 second. Can you see it now?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Yes.
Can you still see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, so why do we do what we do? I started working at the University of Sussex about 13 years ago, and we were looking at why most professional development at the time that was happening in schools was quite ineffective in terms of changing the way that teachers taught and behaved, and therefore learners learnt and behaved in the classroom. And there was quite a wide range of evidence that supports our conclusions, but I think this work from Joyce and Showers, it's nearly over 20 years old now, explains a lot, which is about where the different things that we can experience as we're learning a new skill as a teacher. We can have information presented to us, so new theory or a new idea presented, and then we might be able to see that new idea, so a teacher using that strategy in a classroom, and ideally I'd like to be able to talk to that teacher to understand what they're doing. We can also then go away and try that in our own classroom, in our own context with our own learners. And ideally, we should do that in a deliberate way so that we have a clear idea about where we want to get to and all of the steps that are necessary to get there. And I need to be doing this in an environment that is rich with feedback from other people, with professional conversation, professional dialogue, as I go about adapting and refining that practice and making it something that I can do automatically in my classroom. So the main message was that professional development was a process, not an event. What we sort of then did was look at what was actually happening in the majority of teacher development. And there was a problem, which was that we did a lot of the things that are at the top here and not very much that was going on at the bottom. Or if it was happening, the process of seeing other teachers, the opportunity to get feedback from others, then it wasn't happening enough. And one of the reasons for that was because all of those things require teachers to observe each other's practice, to physically be in classrooms with one another. And there are some problems with that. One is that it can be very expensive and hard to manage because we have a timetable. You might need to pay for cover teaching to release one teacher to go and observe another. We may need to pay for more cover teaching for them to be together in the same place to talk about it afterwards. And of course, when we do that, that's my perspective and the teacher's perspective, and they may not be the same. We may remember the lesson differently. We may have different ideas about what happened and why. And so that can be quite a challenging experience that's not as positive as it could be. Lots of teachers associate observation with the process of performance management and people making judgments about their teaching. And that may be really very appropriate, or sometimes it's not. It's just a powerful learning experience that we should use together. So sometimes by having those two things together, we can create what I would say is more heat than light. And then, especially at the moment, there are considerations now around travel and the fact that we may have to, especially on an initial teacher education program, have people traveling from one school to another. And that has implications at this moment in time for public health, but also always from the point of view of the damage we may be causing the environment. So we set out to build a tool that would help with this situation that used video and an online community, a secure online community to help us address this challenge. So with Iris Connect, we can record lessons either with a mobile device, so a Android device or a Apple device, and have that automatically upload onto the platform, or we can use screen capture tools on the platform itself to record what I'm doing online. So if I'm in an environment like this, I can click record in Iris Connect and record all of that too. All of those recordings are automatically encrypted and then uploaded into my account as the teacher on Iris Connect. That means that I am the only one who can see it, and then I can choose to share it or to reflect on it. So I can watch that video myself and then choose to share and work with others to get the feedback and the support that I need. And we look at this as something that is a cycle that can happen and it can happen more frequently and more easily because people can shift their time. So if we look here, because we can watch the video together on the same video, then it can be a more objective process. And that video could be shared with lots of different people for different purposes, and we can look at the same lesson from different angles. That whole process can be time shifted, so when I'm available, I can review a video that you've shared from the lesson that you wanted support with, not necessarily when I happened to come into the class. And then I think one of the things about this actually is that it can build more autonomy. It can be self-directed. So if I'm a trainee teacher, I can record the part of a lesson that I really need help with, and then I can invite you to provide feedback for me. So let me show you how that works. So the way the system works is that, as I said, a video can be uploaded from any mobile device or from our screen capture, and it'll come into the platform. So I have to log into the platform. The platform knows who I am, who I'm working with, which videos have been shared with me, which videos are mine, and will only present me the information that is relevant to me. When I come in, this is my sort of my desktop, my splash screen, and it just gives me updates from within my learning community, from the groups or people that I'm working with. When a video is uploaded, it'll come into our reflections library. If I click on reflections here, and here are all of the videos that either I've recorded or which have been shared with me. If it's my video, then I can share the video straight from here by clicking on the green arrow, and then it'll show me all the people that I'm allowed to share with, and the school can decide who I'm allowed to share videos with. I can click on here choose a person, and that video is automatically shared with them. They get a little notification, an email saying Andy has shared a video with you. They can click on a link in the video and come back into this environment. Or I can share the video with groups of other teachers. So for example, here's my group for all of my newly qualified teachers. I can share the video into that. And now everybody who's a member of that group, whichever school they're in, will get a notification and be able to come and view that video. I can search through my videos over here on the left. So if I would just want to see the video from a particular user, then I can select them here and it'll only show me those videos. Now, the way that it works is if I go into review a video, we'll have a normal environment for playing a video. You'll find it very familiar. Over on the left-hand side of the screen here is a play button and the video will play. I can control the audio from here. I can move the timeline around. I can go full screen if I want to. But where it's a little different is over here on the right-hand side of the screen. What you'll see in a minute is that one of these comments that have been made will glow blue and move up to the top of the screen like that. And the reason it's doing that is because that comment was made at a particular time. So whenever I make a comment on the timeline, and add it, it will get added with the particular moment within the video as a timestamp. So that means when the video plays, they'll scroll and glow blue, but also it means that if I see a comment and want to see what that comment is about, here where it says repetition of vocabulary, I just click on the comment and it moves the video to that point where the comment is relevant. All comments can be replied to, so we can start now to build up a conversation between professionals that is linked to a particular moment within the video. So there's a few different uses for this. One use would be to say, I'm an experienced teacher and I'm going to record my lesson, and then I'm going to use these comments to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing, which can be a very big challenge for trainees. If we say, go and observe John, and the trainee goes into the room, sees what John's doing, but doesn't really understand why it's happening. Well, this way, we can see not just what happened, but why it was happening, because John's told me, and I can ask him questions in the timeline of the video. Obviously, another mechanism, another tool, another way that this can be used is for providing feedback to teachers over distance. So either from a colleague, from a peer, from someone in my school, or it could be from my coach at the university. And of course, all that's happening over distance without the need to travel. One last way that I think this is very important to be used is that teachers can reflect on their own practice. And so what we encourage teachers to do is to watch their lesson and to make a comment about what it is they're seeing in the lesson, and then make another comment about why that might be significant, why that's important, and then make another comment about what shall I do differently next time. So it's a useful self-reflection tool from that point of view. I'll quickly show you some other tools within here as well. We can, for example, look at different elements of what's going on in the classroom. We can collect data, either as part of a reflection process or to provide feedback or even assessment for teachers. So for example, here, this tool is looking at whether my questions are open, whether you could answer in different ways, whether they're closed questions, or we could also be looking at the wait time, the amount of time between me asking the question and trying to follow up or prompt the child to respond. And with all of these things, what we can do is identify that there was a question to the whole class at this point and click check, and then there was a question to a small group at this point. And what this does is provide me with data. It provides me with the data in the timeline here. It'll count up and provide me with a chart or a timeline of who was talking and when, or the average wait time that I'm using. So we can collect data about the videos as part of this process. So one other thing that we can do from here is obviously we can edit the video too. So I might not want to share the full hour of the video, but just a few seconds, maybe 5 minutes at the start. So I can click on edit and choose to edit this point to this point, and I can create a new video from that. So this might be my starter activity, click on plus, and now it will copy and paste what was between those 2 points into a new video. And now I can share this with my school mentor and with my tutor at the university. And now they can provide me with feedback in the timeline. So that's the main usage of the system. There's a couple of other things that I want to show you as well, because I mentioned groups earlier where we can bring teachers together into groups. And that could be very simple. It could be just a place where we share videos between all of the trainees on the program, or they can be very specific groups for particular purposes, and they can be like a course. We can help use groups as part of our delivery of our program. So for example, here is an example of a group that we've built to support the development of dialogic pedagogy in classrooms. So within here, we can present the research. So we can have a video from a noteworthy professor who understands dialogic pedagogy very well, and they can introduce the topic. We can present video examples of teachers using the strategies within a dialogic environment. So in this case, an American teacher using questions in a dialogic way with their learners. And then what we can do is we could pull people together in a film club. So they've read the theory, they've seen examples, and now they can come together in the same place, either in person or via rooms, which I'll show you in a minute. It's like our version of Zoom. And they can discuss the videos they've seen and the theory that they've read and decide what it is they want to do differently or try in their own classrooms. So once they've done that, they can go away and use Iris Connect, use these tools to teach, record, reflect, and work together, share with someone else to help them put those ideas that they've seen and that they've read into practice in their own classroom. And then what we would do is we would come back together again to talk about how successful we've been. And so this is how we can take these tools that we have and embed them within a program of learning that works over distance. So I'll just come back now to my environment here into the PowerPoint, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about how we could start maybe using this as part of this Prizma project. Obviously, when you see these tools, it was kind of like a coffee shop. There's lots of different things that you could do with these tools, lots of different ways you could use them within a program. And you are free to do that. Have your own implementation and way to use these tools as part of the research. But it might be better if we all had some similarities about what we were doing. And this is our suggestion, that we use that film club model that I just showed you, where we present some theory, some videos to watch, pull people together to discuss and come up with a plan for themselves, and then go away and try something new, and then share their experiences as a common framework for some of the work we're doing. So how would that come together? Well, first of all, within our sandwich, we'd have slice one, which is that initial meeting where people come together having read the theory having seen some example videos and discuss what they're doing. And that would be either coming together online or in person, and they would plan their change for the classroom. And we could provide you with all of the resources and materials around a particular pedagogy theme to help you do that. And then the filling, the thing that's in the sandwich, we think that could be something that was a collaborative activity using the tools of Iris Connect, using that reflection tool, those sharing tools, those feedback tools, when teachers are actually in the classroom trying something new. And our suggestion is that that part could be defined by you. You could choose that part. Are you going to engage in a coaching activity with the trainees? Are you going to work with the school-based mentor more closely? Are you going to encourage them to self-reflect? You could choose that part. And then the second slice of bread could be this plenary activity where we pull teachers together and provide them with a framework to provide each other with feedback and to assist with the evaluation of what's going on. And again, that's something that we could provide. So if we were to follow this model, then an important thing for you to consider would be, what would that filling be? What would we put in that sandwich? What would fit best with the culture in your organization and the existing methods that you use, the existing expertise that you have? What would be practical? What's possible within the time that we have available? And then, are there any additional things that you'd need to know or skills that you'd need to have to use it in that way? And then something else to consider between now and when we meet again next is, what would success look like? How would this go well? How would you like to see people's thinking change? Would their attitudes to using video change? Would their attitudes to working with others change? Would you expect to see their behavior change in classrooms? Would you see something different in the videos that you were watching? And overall, with these tools, how could your program change? What could be done differently across the board within the program? So one of the things that we'll do after this session is to send you a document that will help you start that process of thinking about what the filling might look like, but also the evaluation and the implementation of the program. So I think that covers it all, and I'd be really happy now to take some questions if you have them.
First of all, it is amazing platform, amazing concept.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
No, it's really, it answers a lot of needs. People are doing things by the smartphone in this way. They don't know how to share. They have a lot of questions about privacy, where to put the things, how can we share it with no infringing anybody's right or anybody's, and it seems to give a very, very elegant solution, really.
Well,
I have a question.
No words, no words.
I have a question. I really was impressed with the platform. I wondered if you have a tool in the platform when I put the video, if I can edit it, like cut it or do some changes, because sometimes if I do screen sharing, I might record things that I am not concerned with, that I want to change.
Yes, so when I showed you the editing, I only showed you one thing, which was to create one copy and paste.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's best if I show you. So the other thing that we could do when we're doing this is, in fact, this is the video that I created. This is the little 5-minute video here called the starter activity. So the other thing that I could do is I could go back to another video or the same video, And when I click on edit, I can start and stop, so pick a new piece. And when I click the tick, rather than creating a new one, I could add it to an existing video, any other video that I have in my library. So,
so you can
now
combine,
can
combine pieces.
That's right. So now can you see we have these two videos? This is the one I cut originally, and this is the new cut. So if I press play here, when this video finishes, this one will start playing. And equally, if I use these comments, they work over the top of all of them. So there's a couple of different ways we can use this. One is for providing multiple examples of the same thing. So for example, starters, or how I greet learners when they come into the classroom, or when I'm using a particular questioning strategy. So that could be for modeling to demonstrate, or it could be a trainee saying, here's me, help, I need help with this piece. Or another usage is for before and after we've done something new. So we'd be able to see differences between one video and another.
And the comments will be transferred, will stay with both cuts, right?
The comments, it only copies the video. You'd have to make new comments, I'm afraid.
I see.
I want to clarify something because I'm not sure I understood you correctly. You have content units, right? Is that what you said? That you actually have prepared content like dialogic learning, for example, and we can choose that.
Yeah, so we have content. We're not a big content provider, but we do have specialist teaching content. So for example, we have content around effective instruction in classrooms and cognitive load theory. We have content around effective questioning. We have content around developing dialogue in classrooms, and then formative assessment and feedback, and what we call aspiration, so growth mindset and that kind of stuff. So those are the areas that we have. Obviously, a really good conversation for us to have again now would be like, would it need translating all over into Hebrew and Arabic? And if it did, well, I mean, I think it's possible for us to do that with one, but I don't think in the time we have, we could do it with all. So it would be really interesting to get a sense from people if you did want to go with our sandwich, which topic would be of interest to the most people. I know that there's a long history and really good support for dialogic approaches in Israel, but I don't know the extent to which you would train teachers initially on that there. So maybe it would be better to go with something like questioning, because it's something that quite often sits within an initial teacher training program.
Yeah, but that has a lot to do with actually viewing the content that you have, because just giving it a title is somewhat informative, but not informative enough to be able to actually say this would be relevant, this would not be relevant. We would actually have, well, I would actually have to take a look at this stuff and
of course. Well, I mean, the way that those groups work is they're designed to be edited. You build, that we've built some, but you could use those same tools to build your own content, or to adapt the content that we have. So, obviously, when you get an account, feel free to go and look at the content as it is. Obviously, we would need some mechanism across the program for us to and maybe vote on which content to use for this trial, and then we can look at getting that translated quickly, maybe work with you to adapt it a little for the Israeli context. That might be necessary too, but we do have a little bit of time to do that, but not much.
Andy, did you have problems with the permission of parents to have their kids recorded in the videos and post to post them in your platform?
No, all the videos that we use that can be seen by lots of people have had what we call explicit permission, like letters to parents saying we want to do this. Now, the way we work in the UK is that we use under GDPR, which is the way that we have to manage all of our data. It's a very high standard. Is you have to have a what we call a legal basis.
Yeah.
Yes, a legal basis for your data collection, and public task is actually the one that's used by the majority of schools. This is complicated, but basically it's saying we are doing the government's work, basically, that this is what we call a statutory duty that we have to provide training to teachers, and then they offer parents an opt-out of so they can say, if I really don't want my child included, then they can. But it's good to go down that road, because you go the other way and you have to rely on every single parent sending you a letter saying yes, and that can be a problem. So we tend to work on that basis of an opt-out, and it's very, very rare for that to happen, and there's sometimes it does for very good reasons. For example, if there are cultural concerns, or if there are child protection concerns, because maybe the child is looked after by the state, and or there are issues there that need to be addressed. So that's fine, they can opt out. Then we use the video, and because it's secure and it can only be viewed by the people that the school have agreed to allow to see it, and they can remove that at any time, it remains under the control of what we call the data owner of the school. So we haven't had any problems at all.
I think Naif is raising.
Microphone, Naif, microphone.
Okay. I am a manager of a simulation center here in Israel. We have several simulation center where teachers meet together and they discuss about dilemmas that they have in the field, about the problems. And it's opportunity for them to bring all the challenges in the school and they try to interact with these problems. And I'm wondering how much this platform or this environment can be useful for the simulation center and enable us to make a reflection in order to develop our skills or our communication skills and our dialogue. So what I'm thinking at the meanwhile, while we're representing the environment, is this is exactly what I need for the simulation center to give the person who participate and who try to develop his skills or his dialogue skills to go back and to find a platform which can present how he can improve his skills and all the methods and all the strategies that he can use. And this is, I want to hear from you if you have ever tried this environment in such centers around in the world.
It's interesting that you ask that, because I was lucky enough to visit a simulation center in Israel about a year before COVID, when we were last allowed to travel, about a year and maybe a year and a half ago, and I was also aware of like the strong potential for us to be working more closely together. Firstly, I thought that the simulation center offered an opportunity to record things that would be unethical to record in classrooms, because you could have role play of particular children with behavioral problems or being disruptive that may be difficult to share from a real classroom. I thought obviously you could record what happened in the simulation center, but also the people who came could use their Iris Connect licenses to share back their experiences of trying something different or the problems that they are having. So I thought, yeah, there was some really strong potential. there aren't many places in the world that have simulation centers. We don't in the UK, and I know I think there are some in the US, but not many. And so I was really, it was quite new to me to see that environment. I think it was in Beersheba. I can't remember. Where did we go? I'll have to look at my diary, but I really liked it. I thought it was a really good opportunity to take what was already excellent and then to add this sort of dynamic community online to support it.
We also work in the medical sector. I just wanted to add on to that. And we have had some engagement with medical training simulations in Finland. However, we weren't able to, directly support them because of the positioning of the camera. So Andy showed you before that, the way that you capture the practice is using, the mobile application. Unfortunately for them specifically, they were using the cameras that were already set up in the room. So that's why they were a bit limited.
You can upload videos from other places though. Yeah. One of the things that occurred to me is you do in the simulation centers record what you do, as I recall, because you use it as part of the debrief process. So if you had those videos, we could upload them onto the platform, edit them on the platform, and then use them as part of the film club experiences, for example.
Andy, if I remember well from previous demonstration we had with you, the videos which are recorded can be published in this kind of illustrated way, right?
Yes, they can. And again, that was something I left out. So there is a tool on the system that can anonymize the video. I could probably show you that pretty quickly if you like. Hang on. Bear with me one moment while I launch that. Yeah, so it's there's a couple of different ways that this can be used. One way that this is used is as a learning tool, because when teachers watch a video, sometimes people will focus on all the things that, what we would call the personal concerns. I'd worry about their hair or what they're wearing or that kind of stuff. And by depersonalizing the video, it gets us thinking about what's happening in the video, like the learning that's going on, and that can be useful. And then it's also used for example, if a school says, yes, I'm happy to share my videos with the program, but we would like you to use them them to be anonymized before they are. So let me just share my screen again and show you what a anonymized video looks like. This is also a dual video, a double video. You can take our app, our mobile app on Apple, and pair two devices together to record the classroom from two angles. So don't be confused by that. What you'll see is two angles on the same classroom. So this is what's the anonymization filter that's been used here. And you can see that this is the teacher there. Here's the other teacher here putting a lab coat on. The learners are down here. Here's the door to the classroom. There's the other tablet, iPad that's been used to record this angle. So you can see all the things, and of course you can hear what's going on, but you can't identify individuals within the video itself. You can't identify the individual learners. So again, two reasons: one, as a learning tool, and two, for people to manage their security policies. And to do that, all one has to do is click on privacy underneath the video and choose anonymize and update, and it will take this video away and reprocess it in this format. So now if I share, it will be shared with somebody only in this format.
Andy, I'd like to ask, please, if you could a little bit elaborate about previous experience of using the system for practicing online instruction. Because we know we need to prepare the future teachers for teaching in online environments.
Yeah, so we all got caught napping, didn't we? If we're honest. Yeah. And so what we did during, because we obviously here in the UK, I think experienced a longer lockdown than you have in Israel. So we had literally hundreds of thousands of teachers who had very little experience of teaching online. We had some teachers who wanted to start Zoom at like 8:30 in the morning, teach all day, and then log off at 4 o'clock, and then others who would literally just put a document on the VLE and think that was like learning. So we really wanted to support them to understand blended learning design, but we also wanted to start with what they already knew about. So what we did is we took those film clubs that I was talking about, based around effective instruction, questioning, developing dialogue, using formative assessment, providing feedback, and we turned them into distance learning film clubs. So we took much the same content, but then added a component around how can we do this online. And so once teachers started thinking about doing it, like, okay, I still want to be able to question my learners. How can I do that? What's the right tool for doing that? And so we would bring teachers together through a film club process. They would read the theory, see some examples, go away and try it, come back together to discuss. And so that we found was a very effective tool. We provided free training for thousands of teachers in the UK on that approach.
Okay, so
thank you.
First, I want to thank Andy and Vanya for the very, very informative presentation. I think everyone would agree here that this platform is exciting. I think we can do some things with it.
We'd like to play.
I wrote in the chat the thought of everything. It's perfect.
Oh, that's great.
So if you don't mind, I will switch to Hebrew for a couple of minutes just to explain our next steps. איך בעצם אנחנו הולכים להמשיך מכאן הלאה? בשבוע או שבוע וחצי הקרובים, כולכם תקבלו יוזרים למערכת. אנחנו נמצאים כרגע בתהליך של ההקמה. אתם תקבלו את המערכת להתחיל להתנסות בה. כמו שאנדי גם אמר, אנחנו נשלח לכם כחלק משדה הניסויים. אני מזכיר לכם שבעצם הרבע הרביעי של הפלייגראונד שלנו זה בעצם שדה הניסויים, ומהרגע שתקבלו את היוזרים, אנחנו בעצם משיקים אותו רשמית. אז מעבר לזה שתוכלו לעשות התנסות במערכת, גם נדאג שיפתחו לנו קבוצה כזאת שנוכל להתנסות באיזושהי דוגמה למשל של הפילם קלאב, כמו שראיתם עכשיו. אנחנו נשלח לכם גם מסמך שיעזור לכם לחשוב בעצם על הפיילוט שאתם רוצים לנסות במכללה אצלכם. כמו שאנדי גם אמר, וזה משהו שהיו לנו בשיחות מקדימות לפני כן, אנחנו כן רוצים ללכת אל מודל הסנדוויץ', כדי שנוכל לעשות איזושהי הערכה רוחבית, משהו שזה יסייע לכולנו לראות מה רצינו להשיג, והאם השגנו את זה, זה משהו שיסייע לנו לעשות את זה בצורה רוחבית, אבל מי שרוצה ומי שרוצה לעשות משהו גם אחר, בהחלט אפשר. נדבר וגם נראה איך אנחנו עושים איזושהי הערכה לזה. אז נפתח את המסמך שיעזור לכם לחשוב על כל הדברים האלה, סביב אותן שאלות מאוד חשובות שאנדי הציף לפני כן. באאוטדור אנחנו גם נעשה סדנה שתסייע לנו גם להתקדם את הצעד הבא, אחרי שנעשה את החשיבה הראשונית הזאת על הפיילוט, אז זה עוד נשלח לכם פרטים בהמשך. לגבי הפיילוטים עצמם, גדעון, אם אתה רוצה גם להוסיף, אנחנו בעצם מתכננים אותם בעצם לפי הקצב שלכם. חשוב שזה יהיה לדעתנו ממש עם סטודנטים, אז גם לפי דעתי זה גם יהיה הזמן כבר ברגע שתתחילו לחשוב על הפיילוטים, להתחיל גם לחשוב על מי המרצים המתאימים. אני מזכיר שכל אחד מכם מקבל 10 יוזרים, אז גם לא קבוצה מאוד גדולה, אבל זה משהו משמעותי. זה אפשר לנו לחשוב על איך עושים איזה סקייל-אפ.
יוזר זה מרצה? שיכול להפעיל כמה כיתות? כאילו מה...
לא, יוזר זה פר אדם, בעצם כמה שמות משתמש יש.
פר אדם שהוא מורה שהולך לכיתה.
כן.
אוקיי, ואז הסטודנטים שלא יכולים להשתמש, הם לא צריכים, זאת אומרת,
הם צריכים, לא, הם צריכים.
אז זאת אומרת, זו התנסות נורא קטנה, זאת אומרת, זו קבוצה של מרצות.
ההתנסות בהוראה זה קבוצה של 18.
אנחנו כבר
אנחנו מדברים על 8 לומדים פה, 8 סטודנטים גג? כאילו, נגיד זה אני והמרצה ועוד 8 סטודנטים? זהו.
כרגע לשם הפיילוט, כן, אבל בואו נרשום את זה, גדעון, בואו נרשום את זה גם.
זה בעייתי טכנית, מבחינת גודל קבוצות שקיימות, יש פה בעיה.
אוקיי, אחלה.
ערן, אם כבר התחלנו בשימוש בסלפי והקלטות בתוך ההתנסות המעשית, הווידאו האלו נוכל כאילו להכניס אותם לפיילוט ו...
כן, לגמרי.
אוקיי,
הם צריכים כבר עכשיו לעשות, בסמסטר ב' להתחיל את ההתנסות?
כן, כן.
ערן, אני רוצה לשאול שאלה שקשורה לשדה החינוכי. האם אם אנחנו נכנסים עם מצלמה כרגע לדגום איזה שיעור בבית ספר, אנחנו צריכים אישורים מיוחדים?
טוב, למשרד החינוך יש את הנוהל שלו לגבי העניין הזה, שכן, יש את אותו טופס הסכמה. יש בתי ספר שכבר החתימו ילדים מראש.
מתחילת השנה, יש בתי ספר מתחילת השנה החתימו.
אצלנו מצלמים את הרבה מאוד מההתנסויות, נגיד ככה, כבר יש צילום.
אולי רונית פה, אולי היא תדע לענות לנו על זה. אני רק רגעת, אז...
לא,
אני אומרת שצריך לשאול מול בתי הספר, ויש לו תמיד, צריך לשאול רוב בתי הספר מתארגנים בתחילת שנה על אישור גורף לכל השנה, וצריך לבדוק את זה מול בית הספר, שבאמת יש אישור כזה.
בינתיים אנחנו ככה מסתמסים עם שרון תוך כדי, אנחנו נבדוק עם אנדי לגבי הרחבת חבילה ל-20, כדי שנוכל לעשות את זה כמו שצריך. יופי חברים, מאוד מרגש. אנחנו בכוונה במפגש הפרונטלי, אל תדאגו, יהיו גם סשנים יותר מגניבים שם, אבל יהיה גם סשנים...
כן, גדעון, אני מציע שגם ברגע שניכנס לפיילוט, אולי מורים מאמנים מהמכללות, אנחנו נכניס אותם לתוך התהליך שהם לוקחים על עצמם את הפיילוט.
כן.
אני כבר יכול לראות את זה נכנס.
כרגע בואו נדליק כיתה אחת, מורה אחד, מאמן אחד, אזור אחד תחום, נתנסה. נייצר, אני מקווה את ההצלחה הזאת, ואז אני מאמין שכולנו נרצה עוד מזה שנה הבאה, כולל כל מי שמתעסק בעולם הזה של למידה מעשית. יופי, חברים.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy, so much.
Thank you.
ואם רק אפשר, וופא ונימר ונאיף להישאר איתנו רגע.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Again, we would like to thank you, Andy and Vanya, and Andy, we'll talk later, maybe tomorrow or next week.
Okay, that sounds really
good. Thank you, Vanya.
We're happy to make available whatever content is necessary, but aware that you might want to see that first and work on it a little bit first as well. So, we'll talk soon.
Yes, and thank you again. It was.
Thank you so much.
Have a nice evening, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
נאיף ירד.
דורין, את מורידה אותנו מהלייב?
נכון, בואו נגיד מהלייב.
כן, אני יוצרת את ההקלטה.
ואיפה נאיף?
נאיף ברח לנו.
הוא יחזור.
רגע, למי נתת את ההוסט, שרון?